Brothers and sisters, we're coming to the point now where we are winding up. But I need you to pay attention, because today has a purpose. I told you about the theme. I told you it's all about defeating the Mangamese crime of neocolonialism with African autonomy. All sacred roads must lead to our sacred cause of African reparations. So, we have to hear. We've heard from so many other people who have been contributing to the social movement, to the reparations movement, not just in the UK. Now we want to hear from the work that leads us to claim this day. We're not asking Wendy and Boris to take this day for us. Because if they take this day for us, you're gonna find Union Jack Buntings all around the country and them celebrating how they freed us. That's what will happen if they make this a public holiday. It is more powerful, we have more strength if we book our leave, if we walk off the plantation and come here, right? Irrespective of the day of the week, irrespective of the weather, we claim this day for us as a show of strength and determination to secure reparatory justice. So now I want to introduce you to an internationally renowned jurisconsult, scholar activist, reparations scholar activist, the Secretary General, the Coordinator General of the Stop the Mangamese We Charge Genocide Ecocide campaign, the official spokesperson of the African Emancipation Day Reparations March Committee. And both entities are in partnership and have organized this day for the last 7 years, from 2015 to now. So I want to bring to your attention and listen keenly. If your battery's on its last legs, this is what you need to record. This is what you need to share. Introducing Sister Esther Stanford. Jose, make some African noise, people.
Okay, greetings, family. Don't we look royal? Yes? God bless her. And it's great that so many of you have turned out today, despite all the scaremongering, and it's been beautiful to see our brothers and sisters from around the country talk to us about the work that they have been doing, about the campaigns that they're involved in to counteract the Mangamese, about the Mangamese criminality that is still occurring, which is why we must continue to organize. So I'm just going to share a few brief words about the work of the Stop the Mangamese We Charge Genocide Ecocide campaign. That is the campaigning part of what we do in the African Emancipation Day Reparations March Committee. They are two separate entities, but we are married. The March Committee and the Stop the Mangamese campaign are married. And you know, like all marriages, you can have divorce, right? Sometimes it gets difficult, but we're trying to stay married because we know that we need each other and we need you. And combined between us, we are connected to each other and to all the other ones who could not be with us here today. I want to first of all acknowledge, though, those brothers and sisters from outside the UK that we wanted to play, but we have not been able to play. And the first one, because what we're doing here in the UK is international. In ethnicity and nationality from one another are part of the Maangamizi. When we see all these fratricidal warfare, it's because our people in a huge continent knew how to coexist, but equally when we had trouble with one another, some of us would move on and settle somewhere else. But what they did is they forced us into unnatural unions with people who have had strife, sometimes for centuries. And by the way, this is not irrespective of the strife we have with Europeans, Arabs, and anyone else. So when we're talking about the damage, that repair begins with us. And Professor Chinwezu, a great advocate around Pan-African reparations, tells us reparations, like charity, begins at home. It is because of some of the divisions and the weaknesses where we fell from our higher state that made us weak and susceptible to the machinations of others. And unless we correct those weaknesses, we will not achieve the gains that we're seeking to achieve. So very quickly, I want to acknowledge the elders and traditional leaders, paramount chiefs in Ma'atu Buntimitawo, Gafrik. We are working as the Stop the Maangamizi campaign on every continent with allied structures led by our people all over the world. In Africa, in Abiyala, the so-called Americas, including the Caribbean, in Asia, in Oceania, in the Pacific, everywhere, and of course in Europe. That is the global reach of the campaign. And we unite with people who are doing the work, who are resisting the Maangamizi. And you know, we can stand here, and of course, we had a little bother earlier on, but for many of our brothers and sisters in Africa, in Abiyala, in Colombia in particular, one country that I will mention, where we have a network, okay? Our brothers and sisters who call themselves Afro-descendants are catching hell. They are defending lands. Many of them are just being taken out by paramilitary forces. Our brothers and sisters on the continent who are trying to stop that raping of our natural resources, our mineral and energy resources are being taken out. And many of us are not showing solidarity to those brothers and sisters who are on the front lines of this struggle. But our struggle is global, so we have to unite with them, and we have to also amplify their voices of resistance. So we had a special message that was supposed to open the evening part from Osei Aja Tekpo, the 7th Paramount Chief of the Indigenous African Community of the Kediame of Avatime in the Volta region of Ghana, co-chair of the Ma'atu Buntimitawo Global African Family Reunion International Council, and also the honorary co-chair of the Green International for Planet Repairs Action Learning, GIPRAL. This year in particular, we've had so many messages and wanting to be part of this from brothers and sisters in the Caribbean who are inspired by us, inspired by you, because they see the power that we hold, because we come from all different places, but we are united here today, despite some of our differences, and even our quarrels with each other. So we had a message, a special message that we will ensure we upload for you all to hear on the Reparations March UK Facebook page. We had a special message from Minister David Mohammed, the Trinidad and Eastern Caribbean African representative of the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. Also the founder and director of the Black Agenda Project. And I can tell you his message was all about the work that we have to do to unify in this sacred cause of reparations. We also had a message from Brother Kwame Kamal, Southern Emancipation Day Committee of Trinidad and Tobago. We had a message from Sister Yaya Marin Coleman, chairperson of Ubad Educational Foundation, who lobbied for the Belize government to declare emancipation a public holiday, Emancipation Day. So Belize is joining with us. And guess what? When I go in about 2 hours, I am the guest speaker for Emancipation Day in Belize. Okay? And they are following our lead. They're following our advocacy, our agenda. You know why? Because despite the fact that they supposedly have governments, the governments are not speaking for them. The governments do not include them. They say, well, there is a CARICOM reparations plan and a strategy. And the CARICOM governments, who Europe and the European governments really don't even look upon, they claim they've been writing letters saying they want a dialogue, but we don't see those letters. But yet they say they want to claim compensation on behalf of all of us. But how many of us have citizenship in the Caribbean?
Right.
How many of us can vote? How many of us have had a say in what those reparations plans are? But in Europe and in the UK, you will have a say, because what we are calling for is the establishment of the UK all-party Parliamentary Commission of Inquiry for Truth and Reparatory Justice at the level of the British Parliament, because we need to do some cleaning out of that place, because it was that place, which is the Mangamese crime scene, that legislated that our African ancestors would receive no compensation, would be actually forced to work for 8 years of apprenticeship to make up for the so-called £47 million that they said we were worth. And while they compensated themselves, and as you know, because it's been said, that debt, because of the loan they had to take out in 1835, was only repaid in 2015, and all of you who are taxpayers helped to repay that loan. And they have the audacity to tell us that reparations are not the answer, while they're stealing and looting the resources of Africa and then imposing borders in Africa so that it makes us difficult to even get citizenship. So we want our homeland back, because we don't have a homeland.
Give it up, brothers and sisters.
We want our homeland back. So as the Stop the Mangamese campaign, we're working on all fronts. We recognise that whilst we're here, and these elected officials claim to represent the people, for those of us that vote or are inclined to vote, they have to work for that vote. And you heard from Sister Marlene about TARV, the African reparations vote. And it's because of the power of the African heritage community organised. Why? Because of an African reparations vote, many elected officials know now that they have to support this cause. And the one thing that everyone is unifying around is the demand for this all-party parliamentary commission. Now, this commission is important because some of us have been working on this a long time. Some of us have been working in silos. But we need to to create a mechanism where all of you can have your say. All of you who are working on reparation solutions need to have your say. It cannot be the few reparations organisations deciding for all of you. We all have to decide this together, and you should be able to testify and bear witness and speak about what the solutions are for you, so that we can get a sense of the global magnanimity of this Manganese and what we need to do, not only to stop it, but to repair it. So in my closing few sentences, I wanted to share a bit about the challenges that we have had. And that challenge, those challenges include the challenges of building principled operational unity. Because you see, many of our people could have been here today, and we are so thankful that you have turned out. But we should have a lot more. And all kinds of isms and schisms and excuses have been put in the way, including excuses around the role of some of the allies of the Stop the Manganese campaign. And let me be very clear. Allies work through and with the Stop the Manganese campaign, not the African Emancipation Day Reparations March Committee. And we respect our people's right to choose and to not want to work with allies. But I need to make it clear, this is about power. And we cannot actually do away with their power unless we contest their power with our growing grassroots power. That's what we're dealing with here. We're not the ones who are the real problem, even though we may harm each other. We're not the Manganese criminals, but the people who sit in office in this country need to be held to account. And we are telling those allies that if you want to be aligned with us, then you have to challenge your own people with our agenda, amplify our voices. We don't want you to speak for us, we will speak for ourselves, and we will represent ourselves. And that's why they did a service to those of us in the Stop the Manganese campaign on behalf of all of our communities in terms of offering to block the roads so that we can have our day of trying to talk to one another. And that is an important role that actually our people need to be doing. But at the same time, let them do it, because they also have to go out there and be about the repair. And some of them recognize that. They recognize that the future is not Europe or European. They recognize that. And sometimes the biggest fight that we get is within. And these are the truths that we must speak if we are to truly repair. And don't think this is a secret, because they know it. They see it. And they can do the divide and rule, because we don't stop it. And it's up to us to stop it. I just want to share with you a couple of statistics here. Now, a lot of people have said, oh, well, when you go on the Stop the Manganese website, there's hardly any signatures there. You heard our sister talking about the Free Sianda campaign, talking about the 500,000 plus people who had signed that petition. Online, I checked this morning, we have 6,865 signatures for a petition that we initiated as the Stop the Manganese petition in 2015, built on the original 1951 Recharge Genocide petition lodged by the Civil Rights Congress of the USA, popularised by the National Black United Front in the USA, but we also had a Black United Front UK that was initiated by the Nation of Islam, and at one time I was the Secretary General of that. And we did it under the auspices of the Black United Front. When we had INAP, we took the petition into INAP, and then when there was a discussion about the march in 2014, that's what we took into the march. Altogether, we have about 20,000 signatures, because most of the signatures are hand signatures. But let me share with you the amount of times the petition has been shared on change.org. 4,081 times, okay? But yet only 6,865 have signed it. But let me tell you how many people have viewed the petition but not signed it. 175,830 people have clicked on that petition and have not signed it. Why? Why? It is a disgrace that you bother to look at the petition, but you deny us your signature to basically bolster up our numbers so that we can say our people are on board. So this is what we're talking about. So when you see a few little elected officials and you see a few allies running up and down, don't worry about that. Because it was allies, and in particular acknowledging the role of Councillor Scott Ainsley, who's a white man, who came on the march in 2019 and was so impressed because they don't know about this. This is hidden from them. It's not been reported in a lot of the press, but he was so impressed that he said, okay, we will work with you. What is it you want to see? And we said this is not about us, this is about our people. And the fairest way we can see this happening is everyone needs a right to be able to give their say on this question of reparations. So it's not, I'm not defending no organisation, although I'm part of many. I'm not defending any one of them, because it's bigger than all of them, and it's bigger than all of us here put together. So I don't know who we're fooling with a little bit of power that we think we have over each other, but we don't have the power to tackle the great system that is killing us and taking our children, kidnapping our children right here in England, and we do nothing about it. So, brothers and sisters, I have to close because time is running out. But what we have seen in that 2 years, we have seen Lambeth Council, we have seen Islington Council, we saw pass atonement and reparations motions on the basis of the demands of the Stop the Maangamizi campaign. And that empowers not only you to be taking action, but elected officials to support local repair work. And then on the 2nd of March, we had Bristol City Council, all from the Stop the Maangamizi campaign. The 175,000 people, 830 chose to look at and didn't want to sign that petition. So it was because of the input of people who heard us and said, okay, we will take your lead in terms of your people. And that is what everyone is unifying. But the real prize is we must restore and we must actually take back Africa. Right? That is our true prize. And we refer to Africa as Ma'at Ubuntu Man, which is a state based on Ma'at and Ubuntu, not these borders that were put there in 1884, 1885 to continue separating and dividing us. And as an African heritage community for national self-determination, we're not ethnic minorities, we are a nation in the diaspora, but we are a to defend the land and to defend them, stop them taking the resources. Because the true repair that you're looking to for Europe is what you're going to have to take. They're not going to give it up. We're going to have to take it. But we need to be organised. We have our Forever Family and others. We have the brothers and sisters in the Nation of Islam. We have many other formations that are supporting us to build again that discipline that we need. Ashe.
Official spokesperson of the African Emancipation Day Reparations March Committee. Giving thanks, hail her again, my people. Giving thanks. Warrior Scholar does nothing else in her life. You hear me? Okay.